Looks like they're going to do a similar thing here. But obviously, Rogue Warriors with the Xin Zhao band away won't be able to answer back. We'll have to move off that, but are looking towards that Jayce that is now left open. And, I mean, we've seen ZDZ play pretty well so far, but he's just going to default back to the Renekton. They are going to pick the Gwen very quickly. This can be a jungle Gwen. Probably the most likely role if the Renekton's go on top, but obviously the Renekton can be flexed as well, keeping those options open and available. Looking over top esports, toying with the idea of a Diana in this situation. Again, very much playing the sort of dive under the backline style, threaten those carries.
Diana, certainly a powerful pick. This is 11-13, remember, so Diana still perfectly capable. It does feel like it's fallen off in priority. Much more teams doing a decent job of being able to fight against that. But alongside this Sett, we talked about the QingTian Sett, certainly can do work. This is interesting to see the Lee Sin and the Diana locked in, though, because both of them more recently have been junglers. Yeah,
I think this is likely going to be that solo lane Lee Sin. Probably going to be mid, I would expect, although they could put the Sett mid. They have those options available. We'll have to see where they end up putting those. Either way, it gives them a lot of strong engage tools, and Rogue Warriors are going to commit to that Jayce. Again, I mean, we can't really tell where anything's going for sure right now. I think the most likely one is Diana in the jungle. Aside of that, it's kind of up in the air right now.
What is this composition for Rogue Warriors, though? It's got to be Gwen jungle, right? Because
yeah, it has to be.
You've got three solo laners there. So
be,
we do have AP junglers on both sides.
It's definitely going to be Gwen jungle. They could flex the Renekton mid or top, and the same with the Jayce. So they have those options available. Both teams picking up essentially the solo laners and the junglers. The targeting's coming for the bot laners again. We're seeing, you know, the Kalista and the Draven banned away once more. Varus banned by top esports. And, you know, they have options in terms of when they limit here. The Felios, probably not as high a priority as it was earlier in the season, early in the series, just with how kind of unsuccessful it's been. They could look to target a support here. The options are open and available. And they will take that Felios off the card, so limiting those quite a bit. Ezreal is something that is on open. And obviously we saw JackeyLove doing so well in those scattered team fights in that first game. So maybe Rogue Warriors could look to deny it, and they actually opt to do so now on top esports to see what they want to pick up into that Ezreal. Karsa speaks out to me, often something we typically see as a counter to Ezreal. With the dive from top esports would do really well at kind of going aggressive and trying to shut down that Ezreal.
So the Ezreal locked in a lot of range already with a Jayce and an Ezreal on one team. We could see the Ashe. It's a pick that has been sneaking into the meta. We've not seen tons and tons of it. But actually, Rogue Warriors are one of the teams that have been big proponents of this Ashe coming on through, being able to play a utility-style setting of Xiaohao. JackeyLove and QingTian go full Freljord in the bottom lane. Now, Rogue Warriors have to figure out what they want to give to Jojo.
Yeah, I think Bard or Karma both make sense in this situation. Just a lot of range for Ras, a lot of utility. And against the Braum, you kind of have a free time. Rakan also makes good sense. You have a lot of gauge tools, and it's a very good matchup in the Braum. The thing with Braum is that, you know, those slower, bulkier melee supports like Leona and Nautilus, hard to get out of range again, and it's very easy to get stunned up. But Rakan, he can dash in, he can dash back out. Very difficult to proc up that Braum passive in the time. So I think, you know, once more, Rogue Warriors kind of happy with the bot lane they've come out in this situation. We will get to see where the solo laners end up. I think ZDZ will be taking the Jayce into QingTian, and the Renekton's going to match up to Lee Sin mid with those AP junglers. Honestly, feel like both teams have a decent amount of strong options in this one. I'm kind of leaning towards Rogue Warriors just on the back of that Ashe once more being potentially threatened, and we've seen both teams struggling to keep their backline safe in this one. But that being said, top esports have a lot of engaged tools to play around with. You know, the fact that they have an Ashe means they have it in spades, and they can hunt for those windows to start team fights off.
And I think a key thing here for top esports is just that this time around, they have a little bit more early presence, right? Ashe is going to be able to find priority over an Ezreal in the bottom side. You've got two solo laners that are happy to scrap in the early game. And sure, Diana really wants to wait until level 6, but beyond level 6, top esports can actually put the accelerator down in that mid game instead of just having to answer for what Rogue Warriors are doing on the map. So scaling or not, I'm not sure, but in terms of proactivity, I'm much more liking what top esports bring to the game here in game number 3 comparatively to what we saw from them in the first 2 games of the series. But we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out, because Ashe is one of those champions that definitely changes how the game is played. Having the hard engage on your AD carry, being able to engage from range, does change the way that the vision game is played as well with the Hawk shot. But that said, we've got some powerful champions on Rogue Warriors as well. The Gwen in the jungle. I'm curious to see how Xiaohao can do on that one, because usually he's the engage tool for the team, right? So it does feel like a bit of a dynamic change for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty reliant on Chocho to find those engages. But that being said, they're kind of happy just to sit back and land the poke. There's not too much range coming up from top esports. It's only really the Ashe volley, I guess, that they can use from a distance. So potentially could just get harassed down. We do see Yanja actually moving up top on this Braum to try and find a potential invade. EDZ, I think, just going to back away, but pings are coming out. It looks like they might continue this one on the top side. Now, I love this. If you're picking the Braum, that level 1 strength, really like it being used to try and find a little bit more in those level 1s.
ZDZ. ZDZ is completely doomed here. He's trying to walk to the wall, but there's no way you flash there with the Ignite ticket away. And Rogue Warriors, it's just not pretty, is it? It's just not the way that they wanted to start the game. Nicely done by Top Esports. Creative level 1, finding themselves an early advantage.
Yeah, got to criticize ZDZ for this, though. I mean, you see the Lee Sin in your jungle. You've got to think, oh, maybe he isn't alone. Maybe he's not trolling in game 3 of the series.
I mean, he is a blind monk, so maybe he just wandered in by accident, left his cane at home and couldn't figure out the way out again. You never know. You never know.
Thought he was on the wrong side of the map. And then this nice gentleman, right, comes up to him and says, hey, I'll give you a hand. And then this Freylordian with the mustache jumps on him. It's harrowing, honestly. You just try and do someone a favor, help a blind dude out, and
the harrowing is Shadow Isles. This was Freljord. So it's different event.
Yeah.
Let's talk early games here, Hawks, as we have 2 AP junglers starting on opposite sides. Now, we know that this Diana loves to wait until level 6 to really make things happen, but karsa is one of those players that does like to kind of play outside of the box a little bit and do things a little earlier. Talk to me about Gwen jungle, though. When should we expect Xiaohao to be putting his foot down?
Honestly, it's kind of, you don't have great setup for ganks. It's more like a skirmishing power jungler. So you kind of relying on your teammates to make plays happen. I think for the most part, though, you're kind of happy just farming up to a later point. You'll contest things like the skulls. If your teammates are there to assist you, you can kind of go for plays. But for the most part, I don't expect too much proactivity from Xiaohao early, especially as he's being tracked consistently because of this Ashe. But it's similar with the Diana. Diana has a bit more early agency, but compared to a lot of junglers in the meta, she's on the lower end. And I do like the sort of vision control that's coming out. We see a ward on that red buff, so they know exactly where karsa is. There's a later ward on that raptor.
Oh, hang on. We've got an all-in the mid lane. Knight is trying to make this happen, has flash. Does not commit it just yet, but if you could get past that minion wave, get a Q down, it's possible. Knight, good effort there. I thought he was going to go further.
And you know whose fault that is? ZDZ's, because look at the items of Knight. He's got an extra longsword. All ZDZ's fault. It all comes back to him.
Yeah, it's the top laners. Both top laners in this series have been letting the squads down. Xiaohao gonna clear the scuttle on the top side. He looks like he finished the full clear a lot quicker than karsa was able to do. We'll be able to get that scuttle. And QingTian just hiding underneath his tower completely, as Stack's gonna be stacking up on the bottom side on both bot laners, but karsa won't find his window and just goes over to the crab instead.
Yeah, it's hard to force on this lane. It's such a safe bot lane. Braum doesn't really have that initial engage setup lockdown that you can use. We do see a lot of action in this mid lane. I mean, we're just talking about it, but it's continuing here. I think Forge, could be in trouble if he dashes in again.
Yeah, the cripple goes down. There's a slow, but I don't think that they can really quite make this one happen. He's too far up the lane. They decide to back away. JackeyLove is taking a lot of punishment in this bottom lane. Honestly, a lot of poke being landed by Betty. Very nicely done by him. But ultimately, Ashe and Braum, a lane that is difficult to all in onto unless they overstep. Chocho, if he can find that knock up onto JackeyLove, it's still very possible. No cleanse here for JackeyLove, but Forge in trouble. The flash forced, and Knight. I love to see this aggression from Knight. I love to see it when he can style like this.
Yeah, and Forge, if he had the stun available and was able to find it in the tower, maybe could turn it around, but Knight is definitely pushing the number, and you don't pick Renekton in this situation to lose lane to Lee Sin, is all I'm saying. But we do see on the bot side of the map, Betty and Chocho, even though like the all-in is really strong from top esports' bot lane, Rogue Warriors are never looking for the all-in. They're looking for the harass, looking for the sustain, they're looking for the extended laning phase to find advantages.
So far, they're finding exactly that. That said, though, Ashe certainly does a little bit better with a couple of levels. And Knight's going underneath the tower for the 1v1 solo kill. He's not even level 6 yet, and he manages to make it happen.
And that is dire straits for Rogue Warriors. Your Renekton losing lane this hard to Lee Sin early, not putting you in a good spot. And we've seen how Lee Sin can really take over games. With the bruise itemization currently available, things like the Gordrink and the Sterax, you deal a ton of damage. You're almost invincible, and you can definitely really just cause a lot of issue to the enemy team.
Double knock up on the bottom side. Again. Nothing more is going to come from that one. But we keep talking about how Knight's getting fed in these games, but they're trading these kills on Knight for something else elsewhere. This time, that's not happening. This time, it's just Knight getting fed without top esports conceding the rest of the map.
And the thing is, we don't even see, this is not like it's being forced by the team. We're not seeing any extra.
Oh, Betty. Flash forward from QiuQiu, then back to Betty. Gets over the wall himself.
Oh my Lord.
It's Knight! The man has a family. The poor soul. His family's at home watching this in tears at this point as Knight is just bodying Forge in the mid lane. That's going to be the Crab. Surely the Drake as well, because Rogue Warriors literally don't have a mid laner.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been crushed. And it's on the Renekton as well. I mean, you can't pick Renekton and lose this hard to Lee Sin. Knight is just absolutely annihilating him. And the problem is you're melee champion. I don't see how you sort of get out of this situation. See here, the Tempest comes down, finds the Sonic Wave, and just the kick. Oh, no, sorry, this is the early one before he had the kick. So just enough damage on those autos. And this is the one where he has the ult available. Goes for the Warthog back. And he's just beating him in melee range. I mean, this is the thing. When you're fed, you can kind of just do this. The kick, giving enough damage that the Sonic Wave execute can finish him off. And things are starting to look like it has a phage advantage over him right now. And again, Forge has to walk up to the wave to interact with it. He's not going to get the opportunity to do so anymore because he's just going to get kicked in the head.
Dominus on cooldown for a little bit as well, which means that all-in potential from Knight is even more potent. Knight has a 2-level lead in the mid lane right now. That is disgusting. And now Chocho and QiuQiu, supportal combat coming on through. They punch each other a few times, and then they both walk away. But karsa wants some action, and the top side forces a flash out from ZDZ.
And the thing is, you know, we see Xiaohao here to assist. We see Forge wanting to move down. They can't fight this. The Lee Sin is just too strong. It just completely eliminates the potential to go for a play here because he just changes the dynamic. This is what happens when you have a 3-0 Lee Sin in the mid lane. Top esports will back off after a bit, but ZDZ denied a fair amount of farm there to help QingTian get in a better position. QingTian was actually 20 CS down a little bit earlier in the game and has managed to close that gap substantially just off the back of that one lean up towards the top side.
Now an all-in the bottom side, level 6 hit for JackeyLove, and it's such a huge spike for Ashe. One more auto. Will not find the stun. Onto Betty. Nicely done by Rogue Warriors to survive that play, but look at this. Pressure across the map from top esports as they look for a Herald simultaneously to that bot lane all-in, and karsa, if he can get some pressure onto mid lane and get that Herald down, oh, you'd unlock Knight to take over the game.
And here's the thing is that before this, we saw Xiaohao on these aggressive early picks.
Can't quite finish this one off. QiuQiu just so aggressive, but the Unbreakable is there. The stun onto Chocho. True shot goes completely between the goalposts, and guess what? His big setup. Knight and karsa moving in. The desperation recall from Chocho, but that ain't happening. In goes Knight. There's one down. Betty gets hit by the Q. Knight is taking this into his own bare hands.
5-0 now on this Lee Sin. It's an absolute disaster for Rogue Warriors. They put up such a great fight in game 1 and game 2, and now they have to deal with a 5-0 Lee Sin from Knight. Gore Drinker already completed, by the way. It's looking rough. It is looking rough already this early in the game. And the thing is, Xiaohao on this Gwen doesn't have as much early agency. You know, we saw him in the Zhao, a pick that can impact the game so early on, even from level 2. On this Gwen, he's kind of been a non-factor. It's really down to the champion now. We're going to see that replay. We see QiuQiu overstaying a bit, and this is a problem. If you're trading heavily in these situations, but you don't have your jungler on your side of the map ready to lean in, you're vulnerable to plays like this. The kick auto, the kick Tempest doesn't even give QiuQiu a chance to charm him with the ultimate, and then lands that Sonic Wave onto Belly and instantly deletes him. Just really clean play from Knight to clean that one up.
Knight just walks up to Forge. He's like, you know what? I fancy a tower plate today. Just walks up and autos a couple of times. He knows Forge can't do anything about it. And even if he does, there's a Gore Drinker to heal it back up. Knight right now is almost 2,000 gold ahead individually. I think it's 1,750 right now. JackeyLove gets his lethal tempo here. QiuQiu could be in trouble. Has to use that grand entrance to get on out of dodge. Now Karsa starts the Drake up as well. As Knight leans down towards this bottom side once more. The Herald will probably be the next port of call here for Top Esports, as that's still in the pocket of Karsa. And they've only got 3 minutes to take away some of those plates. As Knight, he will never not go in now. For the rest of the game, he will never not go in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right call. There's really nothing Forge can do. He just kind of has to wait for the wave to crash into him and hope that Knight doesn't decide to kill him under tower. Doesn't land a Q there, so he's safe for now, but his bot lane are now under threat. And this is a problem when you lose mid this hard. Like, Knight doesn't even have to show up bot lane, but because he just walks a little bit over, we see Betty and QiuQiu can't even touch their tower. And I think this one, you know, they have the Herald available to finish it off, but they probably might even not use it here. I don't think they need to. If they keep the tower up and just keep denying farm, it's going to be really rough for Betty.
And this is, right, I do want to take it back to what we talked about at the start of the day and why it's so difficult to properly talk about Top Esports from an analytical perspective, right? Because you look at series like this, they lose both of the first 2 early games, they come back in game 1, they fall apart in game 2, and then you come into game 3, and this is just domination. This is just destruction from specifically Knight and the rest of the team there to facilitate him taking over. And it's like, how can you take the losses that they get and some of the dicey wins that they get and properly factor it in when you have games like this where it is just pure domination and it feels like half the time they're not taking it seriously? Here we go. Knockup comes in as it's a 4v4. QiuQiu playing Unbreakable on the front line, but he will go down surely. The flash actually comes out as Karsa drops a cheeky Herald mid-fight. I think it was going to run out. QingTian showstopper in as Forge goes down for the 19th time this game. A moonfall onto the back line as well. ZDZ to fall. And Top Esports, they haven't even lost a player in the fight. This is still a flawless game from them as the Herald went over to the mid lane.
Yeah, they throw the Herald down as he gets a charge on the mid lane tower, and no one's there to respond. Gets that tower very low, and now they're looking for the dive on this bot lane.
QiuQiu happy to tag. In they go. QiuQiu's already down. And it's going to be Xiaohao finished off as well. At least he ruined the perfect game. But Knight with yet another double kill here is just so out of control. He's 3,000 gold ahead individually, Aux. Oh, Karsa's going to go down. Betty, surely one more Q. Can Karsa dodge it? Sidestep Karsa. He's got his dancing shoes on today. Oh no, Knight's gone down in the mid lane. He's going to go on to Betty. Can't quite finish it off. Didn't have the kick. So Betty survives.
It's just non-stop action, honestly, it feels like. And Knight is... Yeah, I just find it crazy. We had that... That was a team fight, right? And it's still Knight getting almost every kill apart from the one QingTian took. He's on 8-0 now on the Lee Sin. And we'll see the replay. You know, I'm not against this engage coming out from Rogue Warriors, but the TP comes in. The flank TP from QingTian is a bit of a concern, and they don't opt to back away or collapse onto the Sett. They kind of just stay forwards, and then it's a very easy ult engage coming in just to lock down the Crocodile. And then that beautiful ult from Karsa forces Rogue Warriors to back away, but they do the slow play. They know no help's coming anytime soon, and they're able to find that repeat dive. And now the goal lead is almost 6,000 at 14 minutes. That's a lot, Joe. That's a lot of gold.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's really not bad. And to be honest,
You take it.
this feels like scrim top esports, right? This feels like the top esports that are just coming into the game. They know they got another scrim block after this. They just want to get the game out of the way as fast as possible. And Knight is just running around the map, killing people. This feels like solo queue. The only disappointing thing for Knight this game is that he's on an AD champion, so he can't buy Medjayce. That's literally the only negative I can think of for Knight right now.
Bold of you to assume.
He's enabling karsa to just do whatever he wants.
Bold of you to assume. You know, you actually have an AP scaling on your W on the Lee Sin. So,
look,
you know.
this guy ain't no support, okay? This guy ain't playing for his AP.
True. I kind of missed. What was the AD one called? Was it Sword of the Divine? Or was that the crit thing? Leviathan?
Or maybe that was the health one.
I think that might have been the health one.
Sword of the Divine was your next 3 auto attacks are guaranteed crits. Leviathan maybe was the... Oh, Sword of the Occult. Sword of the Occult,
yeah.
One. That is back in the day. Man. For anyone that hasn't been playing for eons like me and Dan have, Sword of the Occult was essentially the AD Medjayce way back in the day. It got removed in like season 6, I want to say, but I actually can't remember when that went out.
You know what's the biggest
Could have been way
though?
earlier than that.
The biggest flex was when you were in a game and you had a champion, you know, maybe a mixed champion, just a bit of AP, bit of AD.
Twitch.
You build both. That was the real flex. That was the absolute domination on the Rift.
That's a Jack's angle right there. That's a Jack's angle. Yeah, I mean, look at the gold lead orcs. What is this? What are we witnessing right here? This is just disgusting. They're almost 10,000 gold up. It's 60 minutes in. Like, what do you do? What do Rogue Warriors do?
I don't
Replace
know,
the mid lane, I guess
is
is the answer.
It's like he just has the whole black cleaver over the Renekton, and you know it's a Renekton. It's not like I'm not expecting much as the game goes on. Gonna throw down that Herald Big and get the tier 2. Rogue Warriors needing to back away. How much they can. Really do.
Ah, dear. Top esports just taking everything piece by piece here. The Herald will be finished off. Chocho gets himself 25 gold, which I would say is maybe the most positive trade that Rogue Warriors have managed to find so far this game. A tier 2 tower for 25 gold. I'd call that a win right now in the grand scheme of things. Look at the gold difference in the mid lane. It's 4,000. The gold drinker just finished by Forge as Knight is already on 2 items plus boots. I mean, I feel like we're just harping on it at this point. I'm not even sure what else to bring up. I kept on talking about how Rogue Warriors beat Top Esports in spring. Well, I think Top Esports might take that one personally.
Yeah. They weren't willing to go down the same route, taking things up a little bit here. And it's just, you know, we can very much talk about like the win conditions of the comp and, you know, the engage potential, but it's kind of just like I could actually see Rogue Warriors killing like members of Top Esports, taking a couple of them down. And then Knight just kills everyone. I legitimately think even if we find a favorable fight for Rogue Warriors, things will look rough there. So I think they need to try and find a fight really far away from Knight and then get out before he TPs in. That kind of might be the win con, but looks like Rogue Warriors are looking for Forge here.
Oh no. When you see a Sett walk past you like that, you know you're in trouble. Forge is going to be pulled in. QingTian gets some true damage in. He's got a bit deep on this one and actually will just go down. Rest of the team could not close the gap. He went way too far. The showstopper was not meant to go in that direction. And guess what? Knight was in base. He's just TP'd into the bottom side. Knight has literally almost all of the gold that Top Esports has right now. So fighting without him doesn't feel like the smartest play in the world. QingTian is punished.
But that's the win con for Rogue Warriors. Fight without Knight, essentially. Oh, and he's got 600 gold off that tier 2. He's going to have a GA in a second. He's going to reset pretty soon, and he'll have a GA, and Forge still won't have his second item. It's insane.
Look, remember when we were talking about the Rogue Warriors hype train? How it had been derailed by TT, how it had been blown off of the tracks? Well, at this point, Top Esports have gone to that wrecked train on the side of the mountain, placed C4 throughout the carriages, and are now pressing the detonator and just blowing its smithereens. Because this loss here, if Rogue Warriors do lose out in this game, they are pretty much guaranteed not making playoffs.
Yeah. It's not looking good in this game. This is like your last chance. It's not a great one. I mean, look at that graph on the left side. Look at the mid difference.
He's almost double. He's almost double Forger's gold. We're 19 minutes into the game and he's almost doubled the enemy mid laner's gold.
I mean, that is well, he picked up that GA. Like, isn't? I don't even.
He's literally speechless. He's literally speechless. Oh my days. Guess what? It's 20 minutes on the clock, Orcs, and Top Esports, they have a tendency to go for 20-minute Barons. If there is ever a game to do it, this is it. Knight just running around the map, taking tier 2s wherever he pleases at this stage. As here's an ult going in. The Q lands as well, and see you later. Jojo actually manages to get out.
Do see you later.
Fair play to him.
Yeah, managed to dip out. The ult not doing quite enough damage. And I feel like that's my big criticism for Knight this game. Why didn't he go lethality? Then he would have won hit Betty. I mean, sorry, Chocho. That would have been the big brain play. Could have seen a collect Lee Sin come in, you know, really flex on them. But no, he plays it safe. Goes for the bruiser build.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yep.
And you know what? I mean, they still haven't started the Baron. This is, you know...
This is good for Rogue Warriors. They've denied the Baron for a minute so far from Top Esports.
Well, hang on. Let's not call it too early. 2 more seconds. Now they've denied it for a minute.
Okay, there we go.
It was always possible for in that 5 seconds the Top Esports take the Baron there.
Yeah, I mean, Knight's got a lot of damage. Actually, Rogue Warriors clearing some vision in the area. This is good stuff, you know, all things considered. No one's died in the past couple of minutes. Yeah.
It is going to be Soul Point. Infernal Soul Point, of all things, for Top Esports, which suboptimal for Rogue Warriors. Actually, we can say that.
I heard Rogue Warriors say that they didn't even want Dragon Soul anyway, so I think it's fine. Oh.
Yeah.
ZDZ.
JackeyLove is looking for a 1v1 with ZDZ. I'm not especially sure this one Ashe wins, but then again, I guess I don't know a whole lot about League of Legends, do I? Because Ashe just 1v1 Jayce. I don't think that's meant to happen, Orcs, but I guess that's how the game works these days.
No, probably not. Not in melee range, not without your ult, just standing there and just autoing him and winning.
They had even items. No, that's even items.
Yeah, not ideal. We do now see Rogue Warriors looking to contest this one. Xiaohao has to kind of try and steal, but doesn't actually have flash. Has to dash over. The body blockers are there. If he comes near, QingTian's just going to ult him away. Or Knight will just kill him.
Knight's just going to go out and be like, come on, guys, 1v3, let's go. I'll take you on. And Rogue Warrior's like, no, I think we're okay.
Oh, he landed a Sonic Wave.
Oh, he's going in. He's looking for more. Xiaohao's in trouble. Dragon Rage available to him. Another Sonic Wave lands. Come on, Knight. You got to go for that. His mind was telling him no, and this time he listens to his mind, not his body. He wants to keep that flawless scoreline going on.
I don't think he was. I just think he wasn't in range. I think he wanted it. He was trying to run after him.
Maybe he didn't have the energy.
Yeah, I think he was looking for it. He was hunting, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on your perspective, he's not able to connect on that one.
He keeps his Sword of the Occult stacks for now, and that's the important thing at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Oh dear. This has got a little bit silly. 10,000 gold lead at 23 minutes, and it has slowed down a little bit, but realistically, with Baron, you can expect a reset to come out here from Top Esports, and then they'll probably just finish things off. Oh, another Q. Is he going to go for it? Go on, Knight. Take him on. Doesn't commit.
Yep. Should have gone for it. Honestly, it's about sending a message. Sheer confidence coming out. I also like, you know, when you do that thing where you queue in and then you dash out like halfway through, and then like the person in the team uses their ability.
The best one is you run the pool party Lee Sin skin. You throw the Q, you recall, so you're leaning against a palm tree, you get your pina colada out, and then you follow the Q. It's the ultimate disrespect. It's just too beautiful. And also, you get the lovely coconut bonk when the Q lands in the first place. Here we go. Arrow in. Xiaohao blocks it, and it means that the AD carry is caught instead. Oh, the team's grouped up. QingTian has a shield. Knight goes in. Moonfall is there as well. As Knight is just killing everyone. That is disgusting as he just jumps through the back line. Betty jumps in for a kill because he knows it's already over. And a showstopper is exactly that. Coming through from QingTian at the end of the fight. Knight is 10, 0, and 4. Sir, you can take a bow. I've never seen a more dominant 1v9. It wasn't even because his team was lagging behind. It's because he just took everything into his own hands. Knight is having the split of his life. He is in peak form, and Top Esports are dominating.
Crushing victory, and honestly it's kind of mind-blowing to think about the fact that Rogue Warriors managed to win a game on this one, because you look at that game 3 and it looks like night and day, literally. I mean, he was just so on point. Solo kills constantly in lane, roaming in the side lanes, picking up kills, just such a smooth performance. And I don't really know what the takeaway is, you know. Don't play against Knight, I guess. That's the takeaway. Is just don't exist when he's also on the rift with you. Just a little bit too good, it feels, at this game called League of Legends.
And look, ultimately, it's not that hard to draft against Knight, right? All you have to ban is the Sylas, LeBlanc, Viego, Lucian, Akali, Nocturne, Lulu, Lee Sin, Yone, Zoe, Orianna, Syndra. I'm trying to think of any other. I think that's it. Once you ban those, what is it, 13 champions? Like, it's pretty easy to play against Knight at that point.
Well, that we know of, you know. Maybe when a team does ban those 13 champions, he brings out the 14th champion, the super special.
The A-Soul comes through. Yeah,
that would be really
I don't know what you
traumatizing.
can do. Knight is a monster. Knight is on form. He's taken over. And honestly, I think my favorite thing that's been said about Knight this split was iCrystallization on Twitter was saying how, like, you're not a true LPL king in the mid lane until you're on a team where you have to 1v9 every game. We've seen Rookie do it at IG. Now we're seeing it with Knight on Top Esports in half of these games. This was just unbelievable. And Forge, I think, has to go back and think about his actions after this game. That is an embarrassing defeat in the mid lane.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play Renekton anytime soon. Just did not seem fun, you know. I think did not seem like an enjoyable experience. I think especially when you're playing a champion like Renekton, if you're playing someone like Ryze and you lose lane, you're like, guys, it's fine, I'm scaling. If you're playing Renekton and you get solo killed by Lee Sin a couple of times, you're just kind of like, well, there's always next split. There's always next year.
Well, I'm gonna give you guys at home 3 seconds to guess in chat who you think the MVP of this game was. And I know this one's gonna be a pretty tricky one to guess. And you've guessed
Forge.
it right. It's Knight. No, it was close. It was close between Knight and Forge, but Knight just about edged it out in the end. He's gonna be the MVP. And that's his 10th MVP as well. Double digits now for Knight. An exceptional performance coming out from him, as you would expect at this point in Top Esports. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to think how many series Top Esports have played so far, but with 10 MVPs for Knight, I think that might be one per series. Or in fact, it's slightly less than that. They've played 12 series now.
And that was the thing we just saw there. The level 1 death giving him the extra long sword. So at least Forge can blame his top laner for this entire game. You fed him level 1. Everything else wasn't my fault, but realistically, I mean, Knight was just on fire in this game. It felt like he was so confident taking these fights, knew exactly the limits of his champion, and maybe pushed a little bit beyond them as well. And moments like this, just calculates it perfectly, just doesn't give any window for the enemy team to really respond, and it just continued throughout this game.
And I just love kills like that one onto Chocho there, where he doesn't even need his Q. He knows he doesn't need his Q. Ward hop into kick into E to finish the kill. So he still then has his Q to just do the fadeaway shot onto the AD carry afterwards and just finish off the rest of the fight as well. And I think that's what separates some of the really great players like Knight and some of the other mid laners that are aspiring, is how you allocate those resources to be able to min-max your multi-kills, because it's truly a sight to behold when Knight is popping off, and it feels like he's popping off every single game. Top Esports, they beat their demons here, Aux. They managed to take the series over Rogue Warriors. They still somehow went to 3 games. They still honestly looked shaky in the first 2 games, and the game 3, Knight happened. Level 1 play happens, and Knight takes over.
And I think that's the thing as well, is that, well, when you think about the view of this series in general, as much as Knight smurfed, he was convincing. Top Esports as a whole, a little bit less so. And you think about, there is a lot of good mids in this league. Knight's definitely very much up there, but there's a lot of good mids. I don't think you can kind of just bank on Knight 1v9ing against some of those stronger rosters. So, you know, as much as it's definitely a win, definitely deserve one, still some question marks about Top Esports and how they're going to match up against these stronger teams they'll be going up against in playoffs.
Well, we're going to head over to the stage where we have the newest